Hello and welcome to ETAuto Big Bite. I'm Nabeel A Khan. If we talk about acquisitions, on the top there's one name that comes to Indian automotive industry, that's Mr. Vivek Chand Sehgal. The acquisition ninja has made his 29th acquisition recently and the first one in Japan. And to talk about what's going to be the implication and advantage of this acquisition, I have here with me none other than Mr. Sehgal. Thank you so much, Mr. Sehgal, for joining ETAuto Big Bite.
Thank you so much.
I always get in awe that how do you really make all these acquisitions, and this is now 29th one and first in Japan. How is it going to change your business scenario now?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. We believe that Ichiko was a very great company in Japan, which was taken over by our collaborators, Valio. And they're into lighting, and this one is lighting as well as mirrors, amongst other things. So we deliberated, and then they kept the lighting portion, and we are taking the mirror portion over. So it's our first acquisition in Japan. We have manufacturing plants in Japan, but it's our first acquisition in Japan, so it's very special. It's accretive from day one, so that's a good part of this acquisition. But it's a small acquisition, but puts very important Motherson's foothold in Japan. And with this, we will become that much more comfortable with Japanese laws and things, etc., Japanese people, from whom we have learnt almost everything with Suzuki-san and all that. Now the Japanese people will be a part of our team in a more comprehensive manner. So it's a very interesting, nice acquisition.
Indeed, a slightly small acquisition, like about 300 crore acquisition, but it puts you strategically very important in a high technology market like Japan. Just want to understand, we heard a lot about your development with acquiring Marelli, which apparently did not work out. Your partner went for an independent bid and they acquired the company. How do you see this? Do you, because that would have helped you achieve your target of $36 billion. How do you now want to take that one?
So, Nabil, for us, figures are important to set a target for our people. If it happens, it's good for us. If it doesn't happen, it's very good for us. So we don't force our view on anybody. We both decided that we'll go together, and it then happened that they would prefer to go alone. They are still our joint venture partners, very, very happy for them. And but the possibility is always open in the future, because if there is no friction, then it's a good thing. No problems at all.
Sure, I'm sure you'll be able to hit another target. Just want to understand how close are you with another such big acquisition?
So many things are happening, and all people are very intelligent now. So if I give even a small hint, it becomes a kind of a explosive thing. And then most of the companies are public listed companies, so we have to be careful. But we are inundated with requests for takeovers, and within the next 3 months, you will hear a lot of companies happening. This particular Ichiko acquisition, we've been following it for 2.5 years. 2.5 years, keeping it quiet, keeping the lid onto it, and then finally, when we both came to an agreement, we shook hands, and it's done. So I think in this world, which is so informative, every information is available to your fingertips, it becomes very difficult to even breathe something. But definitely, a lot of acquisitions are in the corner. They will
Indeed, I
happen.
respect the sensitivity of the information, but I'm happy that you're saying that something will happen within 3 months' time that will help you achieve the target of $36 billion in terms of inorganic acquisition. What are the area you're working when it comes to organic expansion, if you could share with us? And what's your target to achieve in organic way?
See, there is a lot of things which is happening organic also. We just took over a company in Chennai. It was a part of Daimler Bharat Benz, this thing, so we've taken that over, which is the long member portion of their business. We were already doing that business. Now we have acquired the company. We own the assets and everything. So they are there. Small acquisitions are happening almost very quickly because we cannot send huge teams to companies to look into their wherewithal of those particular companies because of Corona, and a lot of countries have some blockages. I think it is very evident that people are traveling much more now, and the speed with which the country is opening up, Nabil, I think it's going to allow the big ones also now to happen much faster. So organically, definitely, there's a lot of growth. Lovely markets, India, uh, America, and all these are very good markets. There's some weaknesses slightly in Europe because of the war, as you know, and in China because of Corona again. So I think these two markets will be opening up very soon. They have to sort out their issues. And once they do that, the gain is for us to take.
In Europe, you talked about the problem. There's a huge overcast due to the energy crisis. Do you see a solution immediately for that?
See, I think through your channel, I would like to explain. When we had the corona problem 2.5 years ago, the European governments of different this thing in the EU and outside the EU, the American governments, whatever, we got tremendous help from them. So I'm sure that this energy crisis and all that thing is there. The governments over there are very in sync with the industry. They are very aware of what are happening over there, and I'm sure there will be things and matters which will be given to the industry as relief because of this problem that what you allude to. I think they are very responsible. In Corona times, I mean, even before we could ask, we had already got the money into our accounts. To safeguard the jobs is very important for them. So I'm very rest assured. There might be a lag here and there, but believe me, they are very responsible governments.
So I see the Motherson Sumi's share also taking a beating. What's your thought on that?
No, they can beat it down, whatever, but खुशबू तो finally आएगी ना जब you can't control the goodness of Mother Son. It'll come out. People will realize.
Definitely, definitely. You are also looking at some of the expansion into new market like Saudi, where that is of course one of the biggest market in MENA. I think over 30% of the market share of the MENA region. They did not manufacture automobile, but you have signed up a MOU and you are trying to help the government set up a automotive mega hub there. Can you tell us more about it? How is it?
Yeah, that's very interesting. We were getting orders from car companies in Saudi Arabia which want to manufacture in Saudi Arabia. We went there, we had a meeting with the government. We were very impressed by the action and the kind of seriousness with which they were going. The car companies have already given us the orders, so we've got that. But I think there is a ecosystem which is missing in Saudi Arabia. Plus, also the government of Saudi Arabia, in its wisdom, want that the Saudi people, local people, also get trained and come into this particular new activity. And we find that very exciting. So Motherson will work together with the government to make sure that we can create the ecosystem for manufacturing of the cars. That would be on areas which we are specializing in: plastics, metal, and wiring harness, etc. So I think it's a great shot for Motherson to go into a country which is virgin country and
What
develop.
kind of investment you are looking at in this country, and also are you going to leverage your presence already in UAE? How will that help you?
So UAE definitely will help also, but otherwise also it's a process of thought that Motherson has. We always have a country Of course, Saudi is very close to India, so Indian plants will be the mother plants. But all technology, whatever is required for them to manufacture these cars, will be transferred by us, and also from Europe if need be. So UAE, we already have about 2,500, 3,000 people there. So that becomes very easy for us to support Saudi in a big way without increasing our costs in a big way. See, setting up of industry and tool rooms, design centers, manufacturing, assembly centers, all these particular things require a lot of investment. So we're talking about anyway close to 350, $400 million. But this is all participated by the Saudi government itself. So it's a very cohesive way of approaching this, setting up this. The other exciting thing is that this is going to happen in KAEC City, King Abdullah Economic City, which is on the mouth of Suez Canal. So it also augurs very well because companies that we can set up can actually export to Europe in 7 days, 8 days. The ship can be there. So we are very excited by the Saudi thing. I think the next 5-year plan that we will have, you will see Saudi as a center by itself, and UAE as well, because we are also working very hard in UAE. So these two will do well.
Talking beyond automotive, you have already stood first in automotive industry. Just want to understand how is your efforts in diversifying into healthcare, defense, and other aerospace is going on, and how do you see these new areas, contributing to your overall revenue in the next few years? If you could give us some guidance in long term.
So we already in our annual report in 2021, we have already alluded to the 5-year target of 36 billion, the top line. Automotive would be 27 billion. 9 billion will come from new avenues, which are primarily, as you said, aerospace, defense. We are talking about medical devices. We're talking about the software and the services. We're talking about logistics. So while every division is moving on its own trajectory, we are very excited with medical devices and with aerospace. We believe that all the skill sets that we have in our group already, right from designing to product to tool to complete assembly, tier point 5, is very attractive to the aerospace this thing for the reason that the capabilities are very similar, the accuracies are in high demand, and most importantly, we are in 41 countries. So we have manufacturing plants everywhere. So if you put the geography, this thing advantage together, you will see it's a very worthwhile extension of 4 divisions that we are doing. I think the target is very clear that we have to be by 25, year 25, 2025, we should be 9 billion for these 4 this thing. But I wouldn't want to take the thunder away from our people. In December 3rd, we are going to have the midpoint review of our 5-year plan. And that's the time when all the divisions is going to make their own presentation. So I wouldn't want to steal the thunder away from them.
So one more thing, just want to understand, coming back to the overall automobile industry, because that's my also core subject and your core business as of now still. So just want to understand the transition that is happening in the mobility space, new form of mobilities are coming up, micro mobility and all that, aerial mobility and all that. How do you see this, the entire mobility landscape changing?
Very good question, Nabeel. The problem is everybody in today's world has their own wisdom as to what mobility will play out in their terms for them. I think as suppliers, as main suppliers in this market, we refrain from getting into long-term visibility, 2040, 2050. I tell my team that you should be focused on 5 years. 5 years is actuality. People will actually place the order and put their bets, if you call it bets, they will put their bets. I think we are suppliers. We have to do exactly what the customer wants us to do. So we really don't worry too much. It's going to be electric, it's going to be hydrogen, it's going to be there, left, right, center, whatever. Whatever order comes to us, we will give it. Nabil, we in Motherson, we know the answer which came first, egg came first or chicken came first. Whatever the order comes, we'll say that is what comes first. So I think all these new ideas are very important because they are uh, creating employment and things like that for the future. But order in hand, I haven't any. So when that comes, that's when I can say, okay, yes, we'll start thinking about that.
One last and final question about the chip shortage that has kept the industry on toes for 2 years. Do you think we are out of the woods now?
I've always said that by September quarter end, you should see this a particular thing come to some kind of solution. I think 80-90% we are over. There are still some challenges, some delays, some things are happening. But I think maybe I would say one more quarter, uh, then we should be in a better position. But really, the kind of demand for electronics is so huge that one really doesn't know when the thing will be finally over. But one thing is for sure, whenever this happens, you will see that you will have suddenly a glut because so much capacity has been put into it. So I'm sure they must be having their thoughts about that. I wish them the well. All our products are based on that, but I think almost 70-80% over.
Thank you so much for taking our time and talking to ETAuto. This was Mr. C Sehgal, Chairman, Samvardhana Motherson Group, talking about future plans. Stay tuned to ETAuto to watch more news around mobility industry.